Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Press Start podcast with your host, MrTechnosqueek, and one of my co-hosts, Quick Freeze 4.
How's it going?
Well, pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's freaking great. And our other host, Nostalgic Dan 1. How are you?
I'm doing freaking great.
That's awesome. And we have a guest.
We do?
We do?
Yeah, dude, we have a guest. You know who that guest is?
No, I have no idea. Please tell us who this guest is.
It's GamezofWar.
Very happy to be here.
Thanks for being on. So, Joshua, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and some of the stuff you take care of and talk about on your channel?
All right. As mentioned, this is Josh. I run a channel called GamezofWar on YouTube that specializes in Sega systems, any lesser-known system you can think of. I like to talk about games, unboxings, take care of it all.
It sounds great.
Yeah, you got a really impressive Sega CD and Saturn collection. A lot of working designs.
Yeah, it's my pride and joy, man. The Saturn is probably my favorite system of all time. The Sega CD in a close second.
Yeah, I still need to get those. And it's really cool, too, because I noticed, you're kind of passing your game heritage down to your son. So, your son, you'd share, recent pickups and games he's playing recently, too. So it's cool to see your son, a young guy who's playing, some of these, RPGs, E's and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's hardcore, man. He beat Catherine all the way through on normal.
Wow, I don't even think I could do that.
It's funny, he got his start. It was not even, okay, I came home from work one day, and this was probably back in '04, and I brought home a copy of Ninja 5 on the Game Boy Advance. And he had a Game Boy Advance, and he's like, oh, what are you playing, Dad? And I said, oh, this Ninja game. And he's like, oh, let me try, and he started playing it. And, before that, he'd play games, and just casually, but this game he just really fell in love with, and I came back the next day, and he's like, hey, Dad, look at this, and ran through the whole first 3 levels and ended up beating the game, and ever since then, that's really what got him into games. He's really good. Have you guys played that game on the Game Boy Advance?
No.
No, I haven't.
It's extremely expensive and it's rare. It was put out by Konami. It's sort of a cross between Bionic Commando and Shinobi. It's you got the grappling hook like Bionic Commando. You can use it to attach to surfaces, swing around. You've also got a sword, slash them. It's an excellent game. But next time you're on eBay, just type in Ninja 5 on the Game Boy Advance. You'd be surprised how damn expensive it is.
Is that a rare game?
What's that?
It's a rare game or just expensive?
I would say a little bit of both. I mean, it doesn't pop up on eBay an awful lot complete with the box. Those Game Boy Advance boxes are cardboard, obviously, and
yeah,
you don't typically see a complete one very often. When you do, they go for quite a bit. Even the cartridge alone goes for, anywhere from $60 to $80.
Wow.
So a great little gem, though, from Konami.
So, like you said, your favorite system is the Saturn?
Yep.
Well, why is that?
I had a Genesis. I love the Genesis, and the Sega CD was the next one for me. And it was really frustrating because the Sega CD was a very capable machine, but in the early life of the system, it got a lot of ports from the Genesis, and they'd tack on a soundtrack and some cutscenes, and then use the exact same gameplay as the Genesis versions, and that really pissed me off. It wasn't until a game called Sylpheed came out for the Sega CD that really showed people that, hey, this thing can do more than what the Genesis can, and I really liked the Sega CD a lot. And then the Working Designs games started coming out on it, and Snatcher and stuff like that, and I just really enjoyed the Sega CD. And when it was time for the next generation to come out, my loyalty to Sega just, kept me going with the Sega systems. And, all my friends around me, of course, were all PlayStation guys. It was a brand new system with all kinds of hype, and, had proven to have the better 3D visuals because nobody, I mean, let's be honest, nobody gave a shit about 2D graphics in 1995 when the PlayStation and Saturn 64 were out.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And for some reason I've just always, not necessarily like go for the underdog, but I've just always liked Sega and the Saturn. They botched a lot of things with the launch, launching the system, 6 months early, overpriced. None of the third-party developers had any games ready for it. And just got off to a really bad start. But I something about the Saturn I just really liked a lot. I liked the style of visuals. I don't know if you guys noticed that the early PlayStation games, all the games were rendered with triangle-shaped polygons, where the Saturn renders quadrilaterals, which is like a four-sided. And they just have a different look to them, the renderings and the models. And I just like the graphical style that the Saturn produces, and not to mention. Working Designs was a favorite company of mine, and they continued work on the Sega Saturn, which was a big reason as to why I stuck with them. And Panzer Dragoon, wowed me immediately because it was a launch title, and it was just really easy for me to stay on the Saturn.
So what's your favorite game for the Saturn?
Tough question.
Shit, hold on. RPGs are probably my favorite genre. So I'd have to say it's a toss-up between, obviously I know it's the cliched answer, but Panzer Dragoon Saga. That game is better than most RPGs I've played today. Between Panzer Dragoon Saga, and it's a toss-up between Dragon Force and Albert Odyssey, both Working Designs titles. If we're talking in terms of multiplayer, I mean Saturn Bomberman's up there. If you weren't into the Saturn back in the day and you still have your games from back then, you're going to need two things when collecting for the Saturn, and the first thing is patience, and the second thing is money.
Oh yeah, I still have all my Saturn games. They're just packed away. I still have the system. I'm just missing all the hookups for it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and another one of my favorites was definitely Guardian Heroes, which is coming out on Xbox Live very soon. Great beat 'em up from Treasure. Any of you guys played Guardian Heroes?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, I've never played it either.
Fantastic. Treasure, hand-drawn, 2D beat 'em up. They pulled back every member that did the original. They got them all back together to do the remake, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that is actually cool.
And about Ninja 5.0, I'm looking on eBay, and just to kind of give like a heads up or like an idea, there's a loose cart for $150. Buy it now.
Wow.
Just the cart only.
Shit.
And there's a complete copy for $150.
Yeah, next time you're on YouTube dicking around, look at some gameplay video footage for it. It's a great game.
I have to check this out for sure.
Now, you're also a huge fan of the 3DO, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Guilty as charged.
Do you have what? So, if you have to compare your 3DO collection to your Saturn collection, like, what would you say is the best?
My Saturn collection.
Definitely, yeah.
Probably my yeah, probably. But, I mean, the 3DO is a great system, too. When that thing first came out, there was nothing that could touch it. I remember wanting one, even though I knew that PlayStation and Saturn were going to be out, the next year. I still really wanted a 3DO, and I ended up getting one for the Christmas of '94. And that thing just blew me away, playing Need for Speed and Road Rash. It was crazy.
The one game I played for the 3DO, and I simply loved it, and I don't know why, is Twisted.
Oh, the game show one, yeah.
Yeah, the game show with the crazy contestants. I always liked that that contestant looked like a Pez character.
Yeah.
I think his name was Mr. Fizz, I believe. But yeah, he was absolutely my favorite, and it was like that's the only 3DO game I ever played, but I simply loved it. Like, it was wicked, wicked funny.
Yeah, it's a great game. But what's funny is that, a lot of these games that I talk about on 3DO, Need for Speed, Road Rash, Gex even, the Horde, they were all ported to the, either the PlayStation or the Saturn, but just didn't seem to run quite the same as on the 3DO. You know, I mean, for one, Need for Speed, they took out all the licensed music. It had some excellent like Soundgarden tunes and a couple other great bands on the soundtrack, and they pulled them out of the other versions, and just didn't run as good. Road Rash was gimped. It didn't look as good on PlayStation for whatever reason. And you know, the 3DO is. I like science fiction a lot, and there is so many science fiction shooters on the 3DO that it. I mean, I've got I think 15 alone in my collection, and some are pretty good, some are not so good, but it was definitely the start of the 3D gaming for sure. I could probably count the number of 2D games on the 3DO on one hand.
And they both also had a lot of full motion video, didn't they?
Yes, they did, and that's the thing with the 3DO. It has hands down the best looking full motion video, like Night Trap, for instance, or Corpse Killer, Sewer Shark. They reported, obviously they originated on the Sega CD, which looked like complete shit. I mean, it was, looking back, I mean, the video, 64 colors on screen is not a lot, and then you squish it down to a little small box in the center of your screen, and on the 3DO, excuse me, we're talking like full screen. It's approaching DVD-like quality, and I haven't seen, full motion video that looks better, not even on PlayStation or Saturn. Night Trap looks really good on the 3DO. Sewer Shark looks really good. Corpse Killer is like playing a different game on the 3DO. The zombies actually react to the bullets when they're shot, and, they don't, I don't know, in the Sega CD version, they kind of like sludge across the screen in a pixelated mess. It's really hard to make out what's going on, but the 3DO version cleans all that right up. Real nice version of Supreme Warrior on the 3DO. So, I mean, if you're a fan of full motion video, 3DO is definitely a system for you. Which I know not a lot of people, the full motion video games. I'm a sucker for those games. I find them hilarious,
Well, I guess the full motion video still exists today with the like QuickTime events in video games.
Yeah, you're damn right.
Where you have to do quick button presses.
Yep. Yeah, and that's another subgenre that existed on the Sega CD with titles like Road Avenger, Time Gal, Cobra.
Yeah.
Instead of watching full motion video, you're watching a fully animated sequence. Like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace.
Yeah, Dragon's Lair was good.
Yeah, so those games were a lot of fun too. Have any of you guys played Road Avenger on the Sega CD?
No, I haven't.
Probably got one of the best opening songs ever in a video game, and then it's just really cool. these assholes in a car gang of sorts. They ran you off the road and killed your girlfriend. So you're pissed off, and you get in your, it looks like maybe a Camaro or a Firebird all modified up, and you just take it to these guys, man. It can be beaten in like an hour, I'd say, but the animation's just it's badass. Running people off the road and smashing into everything, using the brake and turbo. Just a really good game on the Sega CD. I mean, do you guys all own a Sega CD or a Saturn?
No, I really want one. Or
I
both.
only have a Saturn.
Yeah, I got a Saturn, but like I said, I just don't have the hookups for it.
Well, Joshua, I have a question for you since I don't have both. If I can only get one, which one do I get first?
Dude, Saturn.
Well, it depends, man. I mean, like I said, it depends on, when you want to collect for the Saturn, is it important to you to have complete copies of games?
Probably, yeah.
And I would say probably the Sega CD first, because it's going to be a lot easier to build up a library.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the games are a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at Sega Saturn titles, every single one of the Working Designs titles, whether it's Dragon Force, whether it's Albert Odyssey, whether it's Shining Wisdom, Magic Knight Rare, they're all at least, to get a nice mint copy, borderline $100. Even titles like Mr. Bones, Bomberman, Three Dirty Dwarves, you're looking at, Bomberman was almost $100 by itself. Three Dirty Dwarves, anywhere from $50 to $60. I mean, the game's Guardian Heroes is upwards of $100, even though the Xbox Live game is coming. I mean, it's crazy prices for the Saturn.
They hold their value, like, a lot.
Yeah, they do. Which is true, I guess, of most, sought-after RPGs. I mean,
yeah.
Atlas and such still holds a lot of their value.
There's one game I'm trying to get for the Saturn. It's kind of expensive, which is the Mega Man 8. It goes for about like 80 to $100 on eBay, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to pay that much for a game I have on the PlayStation that I bought for $5.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. It's the same way with like the Mortal Kombat trilogy. You can get Mortal Kombat trilogy on PlayStation for $5-10. Saturn's $80-$90.
Crazy.
Would that just because it's better graphics or just better gameplay, or
I don't know if it's because
or just pure people just want them?
Yeah, I think it's. I've heard it go both ways. I've heard that the PlayStation version looks better and runs better. I've heard that the Saturn version looks and runs better. I just think that the Saturn titles, less copies were printed, and the Saturn fans want the game on their system, so I think it drives prices up.
Because I know on that Mega Man 8 game, the Saturn version has like the original soundtrack to it, where the PlayStation copy does not.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking Saturn versions, if you 2D, Saturn does 2D better than PlayStation could ever have hoped to. I mean, you look at any of the 2D fighters, the Marvel superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, any of the 2D fighters. I mean, the Saturn's going to run it, 10 times better. Shoot 'em ups, the Saturn runs shoot 'em ups much better. It's just something about the Saturn. It was just a 2D powerhouse.
Also, for the Saturn Mega Man 8, it has extra bosses. Like,
does it?
Yeah, like Cutman, I know, is one of them. And I don't know what I think it's just 2, though.
So either way, the Mega Man 8 for the Sega Saturn is superior than the PlayStation one.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's worth $80.
Yeah, another example. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have played Metal Slug.
Yep.
Yeah.
The developers that did Metal Slug, before they did that series, they made a game called In the Hunt, and it's a underwater submarine shooter. I really got my eye on that one. It's got the same art style as a Metal Slug, but just think of a little, submarine underwater, blowing the hell out of everything, and it's a great looking game. I want to get my hands on a copy of that.
How much does that one go for?
I think I checked last. It was like $40 or $50. For the PlayStation's like 10, 15.
Now, are you a completionist? Like, you want the original case in the manual when you get these games?
Yeah. If it's GamezofWar does not fuck with loose copies whatsoever. Not to talk down upon anybody that does. Other people that might be fine, but I just, it's something. I got something wrong with. If a game is loose, it just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything with like a CD, I would want the original case just because it looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're paying $80 to $100 for a game, I would definitely want the original.
That's the nice thing about not trading in your games.
Yeah.
You've already got it. And, Panzer Dragoon Saga, I remember they announced right at the end of the Saturn's life, they said there was like the 5 final games that were coming out. It was Magic Knight Rayearth, House of the Dead, Shining Force 3, Panzer Dragoon Saga, and Burning Rangers. And I remember going in and pre-ordering a copy of every one, and walked out of there paying $50 a piece for them. And now, Burning Rangers goes anywhere from $100 to $130. Panzer Dragoon Saga can go anywhere from $250 to $300. House of the Dead's up there, $100 easy. Magic Knight Rayearth is $100 easy. And I've found that shopping on eBay, a lot of sellers will use the term mint condition, and I guess I've got a different idea of what mint condition is from a lot of these sellers.
Yeah, it's totally different from your point of view than theirs. Yeah.
I had a guy sell me a game. Says, "Oh, it's mint condition," and I get the game in the mail, and it's covered in light scratches, crack in the case, and I sent him a message, and I said, "Hey, what makes this game seem mint to you?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's a 15-year-old game, and it was just for the age that the game is, it's in good condition." So I said mint. I was like, "Oh, I see."
Yeah, that doesn't sound mint to me.
No, I mean, I've got games that are 20 years old that don't have a flaw on them, you know. And if I was selling it, I would say mint. If the game's 20 years old and it's got scratches, I would say, you know, the game has light scratches. You just, you know, these assholes don't care.
Yeah.
That reminds me. I bought an S video cable off eBay for my Saturn because I can't play it because I've lost my video cable for my Saturn. And I bought it on the 19th of August. It's still not here.
Where did you buy it from?
eBay.
No, but where's it coming from?
Shit, I don't know.
It's probably like Hong Kong or something, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, is your Saturn modded with the S video? Is your Saturn modded with an S video jack on it? Or is it just... it might be just... I don't think that Saturn was able to output S video. I could be wrong, though.
It said Saturn cable, so...
It's probably just the standard hookup in the back and then running to an S video cable.
Yeah.
So, you know, what about you guys? What favorite system of all time?
Dreamcast.
Super Nintendo.
The original Nintendo.
Nice. Props in the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dreamcast is one hell of a system, man. If you're a fan of fighting games, dude, there's nothing better than the Dreamcast.
It's true.
Dreamcast is a great system to collect for, man. And nothing's gonna break the bank on that system. And there's a lot of great titles.
Yeah, that's so true. I was talking to Clive about that. I'm like, even some of the best RPGs on the system, like Grandia 2, Skies of Arcadia, like you could get a mint copy for like $25, $20. So
not
cheap.
even that, dude. I saw one for like 15.
Yeah, it was like stuff like that.
Yeah, I just gotta pick one up. I saw one on some website, I forget which one, but it was like $35. So I could definitely get that system cheap. I just need to get off my ass and pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a sealed copy. Well, it's not sealed anymore, but sealed copy of Third Strike for $55. But that was long ago before they announced it for PSN and Xbox Live.
Yeah, LukeyGames.com is selling the Dreamcast for $35.
Yeah. I love Lukey Games.
Yeah, that's who I buy from usually.
You know, I've noticed that even though like a version is announced for Xbox Live Arcade, it doesn't really affect the price of the original now. I think that collecting is getting so big that, you know, people don't give a shit if it's on Xbox Live. They want the original copy on the original system.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would want the original copy, yeah.
Like take Radiant Silvergun, recently released, and that game is not going to go down in price anytime soon.
It's amazing how much prices have gone up recently, you know, because everybody's collecting now. I mean, look how many gaming channels are on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's into it.
It's a cool thing to see, though, because I feel like at the end that's preserving a lot of games that like could easily just like be left in garages and like a box and stuff like that and not really cared for. Well, now they're in the hands of like true gamers, so it's really cool.
And I also think that this generation is really, it's driving such a wedge because, I mean, gaming now is, you know, whether for good or for worse, all about online, all about shooters.
Yeah.
And there's people that, you know, are so against that they're finding, you know, comfort back in the older stuff, and they're going more towards back to the old kind of games because, you know, I mean, gaming these days is getting shit-talked by a 10-year-old on Call of Duty. You know what I mean? That, for me, that's not what gaming's about. You know, it never will be. Are you guys fans of the 32X?
I've never played it.
I never owned one, but like I still want one sometime because there's a lot of like really niche games on there, like Cosmic Carnage and, you know, stuff like that.
I have one, but the only games I have for it is Virtua Fighter 1 and Doom.
Yeah, if I had one, I would want that Knuckles Chaotix game.
Yeah, Probably one of the best titles.
Yeah, I recently started collecting for the 32X. I never had one back in the day. I just, as much as I love Sega, I wasn't willing to, shell out the money for that. I mean, that was just, I knew that was going to be not supported for very long. But, looking at my collection now, like you guys said, Knuckles Chaotix is a great game. And it's pretty unique that that game has never appeared on any other collection. It's never been ported to any system. So if you want to play it, you got to have a 32X.
Yeah, that's one reason why I want it.
And there's another great game too. It's called Colibri. I did a video on it a while back. It's a shoot 'em up, but it's a hummingbird. You're like a hummingbird. And,
yeah, I've seen video of that.
Some really stunning visuals, man. And the shooting action gets pretty intense. I highly recommend Colibri. And there's a real nice version of Blackthorn on there. Which was only available on the Super Nintendo for a while there. They touched up the graphics on the 32X and added in a couple new levels, put some added gore and violence back in there, and that's a real good. It's like flashback, out of this world, early Prince of Persia style, where you pull yourself from the ledges and jump, and but it's a really good game on the 32X. And I want to really recommend, if you guys ever do are looking for a new 32X game, there's a platformer called Tempo, and it's a really great 2D platformer on the 32X. Real great visuals, the playability is excellent, and they made a sequel for the Saturn, but it only came out in Japan, which is called Super Tempo, and that's you guys think those American games are expensive. That Super Tempo goes for anywhere from $150 to $300.
Wow.
And it's extremely hard to find, but Tempo is a really good platform on the 32X.
Have you played many of those Sega CD and Sega 32X games that require both? Like, how are those?
Yeah, I've got them all. There's only Fahrenheit, which is like a full-motion firefighting game. There's Night Trap, which is basically close to the 3DO version. There's Supreme Warrior, Corpse Killer, and then one of the worst full-motion video games ever made, which is Slam City with Scottie Pippen. Aside from the make-your-own music video with Criss Cross and Marky Mark and INXS. So how do you guys feel about the Sega Genesis? Are you guys fans?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was a Genesis kid back in the day.
What are some of your guys' favorite Genesis games?
Shining Force.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Shining Force, the Thunder Force series.
Excellent.
Mine were Shining Force, Splatterhouse 3, obviously the Sonic games.
I liked their version of the first Road Rash. I never got to try 2 or 3, though.
Yeah, Road Rash 2 was actually the best in the series, in my opinion. 3 wasn't that good. That was during the Mortal Kombat days where every game was trying to have digitalized graphics, and it totally changed the cartoony look of the first two, and it just doesn't look as good. But, they're all really good games in terms of playability. They're great games. Those are
one of the greatest platformers ever made, Rocket Knight Adventures.
Amen. Yeah, I actually picked up Sparkster, dude, and the second one, and it's not as good as the first one, that's for sure.
No, you gotta get the Super Nintendo version.
I mean, I do like some of the things that they do in the sequel as far as the jetpack and the boosting mechanics. I like better in the sequel, but the visuals aren't as good, and it just doesn't seem, it's not as well paced as the first one.
Yeah.
But what do you guys, have you guys played Rise Star?
Yeah.
That's a great platform. I highly enjoy that one.
Yeah, Rise Star is really good.
I never had it for the Genesis, but I played it on for the Wii Virtual Console.
And another good game is, have you guys ever played Dynamite Headdy?
Yep.
That was one of my favorite Genesis games.
Streets of Rage is also one of my favorite series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say Rystar is also on, you can unlock it on the Sonic's Mega Collection for the GameCube.
Oh, yeah, it's on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, too, on the PS3 and Xbox 360. You know, I have a hard time playing those games on that. I don't know, man, like on an HD TV, even when you turn the smoothing on and make it 16:9 ratio, it's not the same as playing it on the original hardware.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the controls when I play it for my the 360. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but to me it just seems the controls are a little bit off.
Yeah, it's definitely weird with all the buttons.
Yeah, I hated how they made you play, or to unlock Phantasy Star 1, you had to have 2 players to beat Dr. Robotnik and Emerald Hill.
Another one of my favorites in the Genesis is Sword of Vermilion.
Oh, I have that. I never played it. I picked it up and I haven't played it yet.
Yu Suzuki, the creator of Shenmue, that's his first and only RPG, which is pretty interesting. I was lucky enough to score a first edition, first print run of Pure Solar not too long ago.
What's your opinions about that game?
I think it's a really good game. I think that the leveling seems a little off. I mean, I've been grinding for, I don't know, 5-6 hours, and I think I'm on level 3, level 4. It just doesn't seem to like to level you up.
Yeah, I heard that was a big problem with that game.
Yeah, and not to mention, it comes with the soundtrack on a Sega CD, so you're in theory supposed to be able to put the Sega CD disc into the system and then play the Genesis cart and have the CD music for the background. And for some reason, my copy skipped, like the music was skipping in the game, and I did some research and I found out that the burn speed on the CD was too fast for some of the early model Sega CDs. They said if your Sega CD is on the verge of giving out on you, it might not read the disc properly. So I had to download the file off the internet and burn it with one-time speed. And thankfully that burn copy works just fine, but kind of pissed me off. But that's another game that's going for outrageous prices on eBay for the first print run. You had to order that game off the website, and then it took about 3 years for it to finally get shipped out, which was an agonizing wait, might I add.
So let's do games we've been playing.
Well, since I just moved into my new place, I just played my only game when I got home from work today, which was Infamous. I was just running around shocking people. Is the voice of him, how they changed the voice actors for Cole? Does that really make, will that make me hate the game?
Not at all. Not at all. Originally, they had like a really different vision for Cole, but then they released it to the public, and like the fans went nuts, dude. And
I remember.
They changed him back for the most part to pretty much spot on as the first one, really.
Yeah, most people just don't like change. Like, take a look at the new Dante for Devil May Cry. Like, he looks nothing like he used to look like for the PS2.
No, and that brings up a very good point, because I don't understand why companies these days are handing off franchises. It pisses me off. Silent Hill. What was wrong with Team Silent? I don't see anything wrong with Team Silent. Why are they going to hand off Silent Hill to all these other developers? Capcom handed off Devil May Cry to Ninja Theory. I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand why they would do that.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, if the first team who made the game did it well, I don't understand why you need to switch it up and give it to someone else.
No, I mean, if anybody, give it to the people that made Bayonetta. I mean, obviously, that Shinji Mikami is the creator of Devil May Cry, and he's the one that made Bayonetta. But I mean, shit.
I think it's just like the companies they're not passionate about the games anymore. Like, like Devil May Cry. I don't think Capcom is passionate about that series anymore. I don't think it's passionate about Mega Man anymore. So, like, that's just my thoughts. Like, I don't know what you guys think about the whole thing, but...
Well, that and, like, I think the companies feel like an urge to, I don't know why, but they always feel an urge to, like, rehash their game and, like, re-innovate it, like, make it more innovative and, like, a better game, and just, it winds up not being that great in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Theory has made a couple of pretty good games. A lot of people are dogging on Ninja Theory, but I really enjoyed Heavenly Sword on the PS3. I thought it was a great game, and I thought Enslaved was pretty good too. But I mean, does that mean they should, have Devil May Cry? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the same thing with Metroid Other M. Why did Nintendo let Team Ninja design that?
That was fucking horrible. Oh my god.
Well, it wasn't a bad game, but it could have been so much better.
Well, I heard the bad thing with that is the dialogue. Like, Samus talked a lot.
Yeah.
Like, she would not shut up.
Yeah, that was the main problem with it.
Yeah, the actual gameplay I thought was pretty damn good. I liked the return to almost a 2D type approach,
Yeah, I like the gameplay, and I like how they integrated the first-person viewing mode into the gameplay. But the dialogue and the cutscenes were just way too long and boring.
And when have you ever seen a first-party Nintendo game drop in price that fast?
$20, $15 now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're talking. They just now, I think, 4 years after the game came out, made a Nintendo, greatest hits line, and finally dropped Zelda and Mario to $20.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have not even a year. Metroid's down to 15.
Yeah.
I just want a kick-ass 2D Metroid in the vein of Metroid Fusion on the 3DS, dude. That will be badass. That will sell.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
That will sell.
I love Fusion so damn much.
And hell, while we're at it, Castlevania.
Oh my god.
The 3 for the DS, dude. Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and
Yes.
Order of Ecclesia. Let's see a new Castlevania on the 3DS.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I love Dawn of Sorrow.
So, Dan, what have you been playing?
Not much, but recently, last week, I went back to a game that I put off for a while because I got stuck, and I picked up Final Fantasy 13 again. Now, the reason I put it down, and all I'm going to say is, the final boss at the end of Disc 2, that's all I'm going to say. He pissed me off so much. He was way overpowered, and I had to, level grind in that area for, a good 4 or 5 hours, which I thought was ridiculous for a Final Fantasy game, but I finally level grinded, built up my Crystarium all the way, and the first try, I hadn't played it for at least a good month. First try, I kicked his ass, so it felt so good to finally beat him. And now I can finally move on in the story, so now I'm on Disc 3, and I'm hoping to wrap that up pretty soon. So, and I put some more time, obviously, into, you're going to hear me talk about this for quite a few weeks to come, but that is The Legend of Heroes, Trials in the Sky. I'm about a little over 10 hours into that, and I'm just loving that. Any free time I get in college, I bust out that game. But that's about it. So, what about you, Cliva?
Well, I've been playing... This just came out today, and I simply flipped out when I found out that it came out today. It was the Mega Man Wily's Revenge for the original Game Boy. It came out on the 3DS's eShop today. And ever since I got home today, I've been playing the hell out of that ever since we started recording this podcast. The only thing I gotta say about it, it's Mega Man. You know exactly what you're getting, but I don't know if I remember correctly, but this just seems way more difficult than I remember. Have you guys ever played the Game Boy version of Mega Man?
Never.
No.
Well, if you played the NES versions, it's times the difficulty of that times 5. It's just really, really difficult, but I think that's just what makes the game so much more better. Other games I've been playing is I picked up Star Fox 64 3D. I've been playing that quite a bit. If you played Star Fox 64 for the Nintendo 64, you know, there's no huge difference in between the games. So I would only say pick up the 3DS version if you just haven't played the Nintendo 64 version. You're getting the same exact game. You know, it's not very difficult. It'll take you less than an hour to complete a single playthrough. Your only throwback to keep playing the game is to go on the different alternate paths. So
I want to ask you guys a question. As Nintendo fans, are you tired of Nintendo rehashing ports? And are you tired of Mario, Metroid, Kirby, Zelda over and over again? Do you wish Nintendo would maybe create something new, or are you guys happy with just new Mario Karts, new Marios, Kirby's?
Well, yeah. I guess, like, I don't mind, like, new Mario games, Kirby games are cool, but rehashes, like, when they rehash new games, that kind of does bother me, because it's like they're not really making an attempt, they're just adding a few things and saying, here, buy this again. And it's like, you could buy it cheaper and still get the same experience. If I'm playing, like, Star Fox 64 on my 64, it's going to be the same thing, and I could get that for, like, $12. But, like, new Mario games, Kirby games, if they're done well, like Super Mario Galaxy, that was a great game, and, you know, more Mario, but if they keep doing it and perfecting it and making it better and better, it's cool, but I really think they do need, like, a breath of fresh air. They need to create, like, a new IP for them, or bring back some series that, like, Kid Icarus, which they're doing, but, like, maybe a new Kid Icarus on, like, the Wii or something, like, bring back really old franchises.
Yeah. Dude. Oh man, it ain't Nintendo though, but I would love to see a new Double Dragon. But I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. But if they keep on doing that, I'll get pissed off. Like Dan said, they're not really trying.
Yeah, I've noticed a trend. You know, with the Game Boy Advance, you were getting the Super Nintendo ports. With the Nintendo DS, you were getting the 64 ports, and now with the 3DS, we're getting more 64 ports, you know?
Yeah. But everyone wanted Star Fox 64 on the original DS.
But it's like, why not take the time and make a completely new game for the 3DS, like a new Star Fox game, instead of a rehash? Like, that's what I don't get.
But, you know, hardcore fans, they'll get pissed off if they try something new. I mean, we're getting a new Super Smash for the, is the new Super Smash, do we know if it's the same game that's going to be on the Wii U?
I think it is. I think it's supposed to be like pretty much identical games.
What
yeah,
the
because
hell?
you're supposed to be able to, like, link them up, aren't you?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh. Okay, that totally changes what I was thinking.
Will you guys be buying a Wii U on day one?
As of now, no.
Yeah. Not right now.
Yeah. I would have to say yeah.
Not if the launch lineup is going to be like the 3DS. You better have some good titles to make me buy it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it better be priced right, too. We don't know the price, so...
I think they learned their lessons with the 3DS.
So, Josh, what have you been playing?
Playing a lot. I picked up Dead Island on the PS3 because the 360 version was sold out everywhere. and I've really been enjoying that. I think Dead Island is a fantastic game. I hadn't been anticipating it because when I first saw pictures of it and saw articles on it, I thought it was just another survival first-person shooter zombie game, but turns out that the game is extremely melee focused. And one thing I'm a big fan of, and I'd like to see in the next generation, is more realistic physics, in the sense that when I swing a machete at a zombie and I cut him, I want to see that cut start from the top of the chest and open up down to the bottom of his stomach. I want to see that lead pipe smashing into his arm and, maybe chunks of flesh fly off his arm and a bruise appear. I want realistic physics, and that's what Dead Island does, is really hit specific. When you're swinging a blunt weapon at the zombies, you can see the flesh peel off the skin if you hit him in the shoulder. If you hit him in the leg, chopping off a leg, he'll fall down, or chopping off an arm. It's really cool to see specific damage, with the weapon, and not just some generic, knockback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really a fan of stuff like that, and it's not like a deep RPG, but the game's 25 to 30 hours. Lots of cool side quests, and I'm really enjoying the single player so far. It's got a control scheme where, you can hit the R1 just to swing the weapon wildly if you want, or you can switch the control scheme to digital, where you hold down the L1 and that kind of puts you in a combat stance, and then you use the right analog stick, and wherever you move that stick, you can see the guy's hands on screen. Say you push the analog stick down, you'll see his hands with the blunt weapon, pointing down, to where you just flick the thumbstick down and up, and he'll do an upward slash. Or you can have the thumbstick to the left, and he'll do a left slash. It's specific to where you have the analog stick, which adds a lot of depth, I think, to the combat.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Really, really fun game. I recommend Dead Island to anybody that's a fan of whacking zombies. And I also picked up a Kinect title, which is called Rise of the Nightmares.
Mm-hmm. I just saw a commercial for this.
And it's been getting mixed reviews, but I really enjoy it because it's almost like a side story to House of the Dead. Really cheesy voice acting.
Awesome.
And it's got some really good use of Kinect. I mean, you put your right foot forward to walk, which, how else are you going to do it, really? Yeah. And there's been really some inventive uses for Kinect. There's a couple of scenes where a monster might be after you, and you have to hide and stand perfectly still. And if you move one hand or one arm, he'll spot you and rush you immediately. Another cool example was I was in a room and I was walking by a counter, and on the counter there was this corpse, and it was all cut up. The stomach was cut open. And you walk by, and your character says, I think there's something inside this guy. And you walk over to the body, and then you see a set of hands on screen, and you put your hands forward to connect, and it shows your on-screen arms, and you start digging through this guy's innards and pull out a key. So that was pretty damn cool, man. You're pulling out intestines and shit and digging for this key with your virtual hands on screen. You get a weapon, which is like hedge clippers, and you have to hold your hands up to initiate the combat. You hold it like you're getting in a fight. You hold your two fists up, and that initiates combat. And you have these hedge clipper weapons, and you have to act like you're trimming the bushes or whatever, and you're just popping zombies' heads off left and right. Which is it's pretty cool. I was very impressed with Rise of Nightmares on the Kinect. It's probably the best game for the system I have played next to Child of Eden. And like you, Quick Free, I picked up Star Fox, and for me, it's probably my favorite game on the 3DS. I never had Star Fox on the 64, and I will say that the 3D in Star Fox is freaking amazing. Like, a lot of people bitched about the 3D's depth only, where you can just see into the screen. Well, this I can see ships flying at you, popping out of the screen. I was very impressed with 3D in Star Fox.
Yeah, the 3D worked really well in that game, but like I said, to me it's still the same game as the 64 version. So.
Yeah, that's why coming into it, having not played the 64 version, it's like a new game to me. So I'm really enjoying that. I've also been playing a lot of Radiant Historia on the DS.
Nice.
I finish up these books 1 and 2 Chronicles.
Nice.
Yeah, I to be honest with you guys, the most anticipated release is definitely PlayStation Vita. I think that is going to be hands down, because for me the PSP is my favorite portable of all time. I mean, I've got 60 plus games for it. I think it's got some just amazing Japanese role-playing games, you know, with Legend of Heroes, all the Ys games, the Final Fantasies, the Brave Stories, Tales of Eternia, all the Sting games, you know, Riviera, Yigger Union, Knights of the Nightmare, Hexy's Force. I mean, the list goes on and on of phenomenal RPGs on the PSP. And, you know, with the Vita, you know, they've announced the Persona Gold, Persona 4 Gold, that is, you know, I'm really looking forward to the Vita. I think it's going to be an amazing handheld machine, and I can't wait to play it.
Same here, and like, I was going to save this for the news segment, but since you brought it up pretty much, I actually really do want a PS Vita now, because I saw the TGS trailer for Ys 4, and wow, I was blown away. It's
Can't
epic.
wait.
It was like that one game right there, I'm like, oh, I need this system. I don't even need to think about it.
Yeah, dude, it's going to have a lot of great games for it, man.
I can't wait. It seems like it's going to carry on the tradition like PSP, hopefully, with like Nihon Falcom and Xseed. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Definitely. You know, other than that, I'm just playing a little bit of Final Fight CD on the Sega CD. And then I've been playing a lot of shmups on the Genesis, like Gary's and Super Thunder Force 2 and 3, and a little bit of Android Assault on the Sega CD, and the sequel to Musha on the Genesis, which is Robo West on the Sega CD. Been playing a lot of that. Have any of you guys played Musha on the Genesis?
No, I wish I could.
No, but I've heard it's like really rare though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another. That's you know, it's a matter of whether I want to pony up $150 to get the game. Other than that, just playing a lot of retro stuff and you know, Rise of the Nightmares and Dead Island. I'm really interested in that new game for the Kinect called the Gunstringer.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
All right, some PlayStation Network news. Sony is clearly not playing around after the PlayStation Network got hacked back in April. You know that whole thing that was like the PlayStation Network didn't come up for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
They say they beefed up their security, which I think is anything can get hacked, no matter what. But they've also beefed up their terms of service to protect from class action lawsuits, like those that hit them after April's hack attack.
Why is my bank account negative?
Yeah.
Overdraft.
PS3 today, I had to go through this big-ass list, of terms of service.
Me too.
To sign in. I was like, what the fuck?
I got a message today from PlayStation, and they said, like, oh, we're changing our terms of service. And I guess that's what you're talking about. I haven't signed in yet, so...
Yeah. The PSN terms now features a snappy new piece of reading material called Bonding Individual... I don't know how you pronounce the ARBITRATION.
Arbitration?
Yeah, I guess so. Arbitration, which contains a class action waiver. The waiver basically says that no class action lawsuits will be allowed against Sony unless Sony says so. So that pretty much means no class action lawsuits. Sony has also taken precautions in the case in case the waiver doesn't hold in court, with another section of terms stating if the class action waiver clause is found to be illegal or unenforceable, this entire Section 15 will be unenforceable, and the dispute will be decided by a court, and you and the Sony company, you will have to dispute with each agree to the waive in that instance, to the fullest extent allowed by the law. Any trial by jury. Yeah. So, what do you think about this?
Titties.
I agree. I can't wait to sign into PSN. Terms of agreement.
All right. We got some Dead Island news. They're going to bring out DLC. But first, they're going to fix Dead Island. With the rough launch and issues still needing to be addressed on the multiple platforms, I think I told this to everyone about the whole Dead Island on PC being a development version. But yeah, they're gonna fix it and then, give out DLC for it. So,
Do you know what the DLC is going to be?
I don't think...
I think it's the arenas, dude.
Right here, they don't say anything. They just say there is some awesome DLC content planned. Mortal Kombat sold 3 million units worldwide.
Which Mortal Kombat?
The newest one.
Is that trilogy?
No. I mean the MK9.
Best fighting game ever, dude.
Yeah, dude. Here's what the president of Warner Brothers said, of Interactive Entertainment. We are very pleased with the success of Mortal Kombat as it surpassed our expectations in becoming the #1 fighting game in North America released so far this year. Woo-hoo. And Ed Boon says, fan reaction to this latest installment has made all of our hard work worth it.
Anybody got Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys have that game on PlayStation 3 or 360?
PS3.
360.
I'm going to get on PS3.
Yeah, we'll have to exchange screen names, dude. Get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
They did a good job. They did a pretty good job if you think about reviving that franchise, because it wasn't Midway. Like, it was a completely new developer. It could have gone the completely opposite way, where it was just a horrible game, but they brought it back to its roots and made it a really good game. Yeah,
but Midway or NetherRealm Studios is pretty much Midway.
Yeah, but I mean it's pretty revolutionary still, because they've all been 3D, and then they finally switch it up to 2D again.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, I love, I'm going to be honest, I really liked Mortal Kombat DC.
I did too, man.
I really did, dude. I thought it was a great game. I loved being able to use Batman and Flash and Superman. It just, if it was maybe just a DC fighter solo, it just didn't seem like Mortal Kombat to me. I mean, it was a great game. I loved it. But if they would have done a fighting game with just all DC characters with using that engine, it would have been great. But for what it was, I really liked it.
Yeah, I honestly liked using the DC characters more than the Mortal Kombat characters.
For sure.
It's weird because it's basically a Mortal Kombat game, but hell, I loved using the Flash more than Sub-Zero.
Yeah, the Flash was my boy too, and I liked Green Lantern too. Which I wanted to say that I think that video you did, it was excellent. Quick Freeze versus Spider-Man on the 64. It was a good video.
Oh, thanks, man.
You ever think of doing the Spider-Man, either like Web of Shadows or the newest one?
Shattered Dimension?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have a request for Shattered Dimension, so I'll probably be doing that sometime soon, so...
Isn't that a great game, the Shattered Dimensions?
Yeah, I absolutely love that game. Like, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man, will always be Spider-Man. And the fact that you're able to play with 4 different Spider-Man, it's a pure fan service to, to every Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to get Edge of Twilight or whatever, the new one?
Edge of Time?
Edge of Time, yeah. My bad.
Yeah, definitely. I just saw today that that game is getting a new costume for Spider-Man. It's going to be the Ultimate Spider-Man from the new comic that was actually released yesterday. Because I don't know if you guys know about this, but the new Ultimate Spider-Man, it isn't Peter Parker anymore. It's a new... I don't know his name yet because I haven't read the issue, but it's a new, like, black Hispanic Spider-Man. And he has a new costume. It kind of goes back to the old black and red costume from the Amazing Fantasy 15. But this new Spider-Man is going to be wearing that costume, just a little updated, But it's going to be the new black and red costume, and it's going to be in the Spider-Man Edge of Time video game. And I don't know if it's going to be like a pre-order thing, like if you pre-order at GameStop you'll get that costume, or if it's going to be DLC or not. But I've just found that out today, and I'm wicked excited just basically to have that costume.
Now, that comes out very soon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually comes out in November, I believe. Because I know X-Men Destiny comes out the end of September. Batman Arkham City comes out next month. And I think Spider-Man Edge of Time is in November.
Yeah, I really can't wait for Arkham City.
Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic game.
Hell yeah.
I think what that game, for me, is going to be great is the Riddler's in it. He's my favorite Batman villain.
Dude, me too. Dude, me and my stepbrother were watching Batman Forever just a minute ago.
Oh, God.
Jim Carrey's not playing the Riddler, but Jim Carrey.
I think he is the best Riddler ever. Well...
No. Frank Gorshin.
Nah. From the old show with Adam West.
Yeah, that's Frank Gorshin that played the Riddler.
Quick Freeze, do you prefer the Tim Burton Batmans or the Christopher Nolan Batmans?
Oh, that's hard, dude.
Tim Burton.
I like them both, but yeah, I can't really pick, dude. I really like them both. Like, I like... Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I like them both. Sorry.
Right on. It's a tough decision,
Which one do you prefer?
Shit, dude, it's tough for me too because I think that the Tim Burton Batmans kind of represents the time, the sign of the times. You got Prince doing the soundtrack, and I think that the second one had like a certain that Tim Burton atmosphere to it mixed with Batman, which was so damn cool. But on the other hand, you got the Nolan movies, which are more like modern crime drama almost. It's tough, dude. I don't know.
It is because it's 2 different movies set in like 2 different eras. So
Yeah.
it's almost like kind of comparing the Adam West Batman to, today's Batman. It's totally 2 different time periods, and Batman's going to be doing different things. But
let me ask you this: Jack Nicholson Joker or Heath Ledger Joker?
Oh, damn.
Hard. That's hard, dude. I'm sorry. I would have to say the Jack Nicholson Joker. Just because the Heath Ledger Joker, he didn't really laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of picture the Joker being, a guy who's like insane, you don't know if he's going to hug you or kill you, and I think that's what the Jack Nicholson pulled off quite well while adding, a bit of comedy to it.
Yeah.
Where like the Heath Ledger Joker, he was more, sure he was funny, but then he was also like more sadistic and psychotic. He didn't really like make you laugh. He just like he wanted to set up a joke but not really tell the joke.
Just got to say one thing. I think that Daredevil was one of the most underrated superhero films ever made.
Dude, I love Daredevil, and a lot of people just said it was like it's one of the worst Marvel movies ever made.
It's because of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez at the time. That's why, dude.
I thought Ben Affleck did a great job in that movie.
He was perfect, dude. He was a perfect Matt Murdock.
Yeah, people say, like, yeah, it's one of the worst Marvel movies. I'm like, did you actually see the movie?
I think it's seriously because of that, dude. If you take yourself back to that time, dude, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez were everywhere, man. You couldn't even open up a magazine or turn on the news without hearing something about those two, dude. And I think people got so sick of seeing Ben Affleck that they didn't even want him associated with, a piece of their, Daredevil's obviously, part of people's childhoods that read the comics and means a lot to somebody. And if they see some douchebag that's, fighting with his girlfriend everywhere, they don't want to associate it with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I don't look at that at all. I just see if he does a great job playing that character, I'm going to love Ben Affleck playing that character. It's simple as that.
Did you like Green Lantern?
I did like Green Lantern.
I never got to see that. I need to.
I saw it. I liked it too.
It should be out soon on DVD and Blu-ray, but it's not one of the best DC movies I've ever seen. Like, I think, The Dark Knight was definitely better than Green Lantern, but Green Lantern was definitely better than Superman Returns, in my opinion.
Definitely. I knew it was going to be a hard sell for the mainstream movie-going crowd because, the Green Lantern's backstory is pretty complex. It's not just about, Hal Jordan and he's a human. It's about, all these different looking kinds of creatures from different Lantern Corps throughout all of space, dude. And it's a pretty complex, tough sell for the average movie-going. Obviously there's going to be Green Lantern fans that go see it because they're Green Lantern fans, but to the moviegoer looking to see a nice summer blockbuster, they're not going to understand all the different races and the different Lantern Corps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I went to see it with a friend of mine who hasn't touched a comic book for like over 15 years, and basically while we're watching it, he's like, who's that, who's that, who's that? I'm like, well, he's the alien of this sector, and he's like, oh, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, well, okay, well, just sit back and enjoy the movie. Stop asking me questions, just take it as an action film and not a superhero film. But I saw it as a superhero film, and I absolutely loved it with Parallax and Sinestro. I'm not going to say the ending for people who haven't seen the movie, but Sinestro at the end, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, dude, it was great, dude. Ryan Reynolds did a great job as Hal Jordan too.
Yeah, I think that he did a great job.
I can't wait for Deadpool. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
How do you feel about the Spidey reboot?
I'm kind of mad, but then I'm kind of happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm just... I hate it because it's like, okay, well, why are you remaking it? Okay, yeah, Spider-Man 3 didn't do all that great, but you set up a very important character in Spider-Man 3. Do you remember Doc Connors?
Yeah.
You set up Doc Connors in all three films. He was mentioned in the first one, he was shown in the second one, and he was shown in the third one. You could easily make Spider-Man 4 and do a Lizard story. I even came out with my own story for Spider-Man 4. It involved the Doc Connors working on a symbiote, and that's how he got the formula to make the Lizard formula turning himself into Lizard, the symbiote's still around. That would introduce Carnage, and then
bro.
And then if you want,
that's what I wanted so bad.
Yeah, it works so well with those two villains. And then if you wanted a third villain, you could introduce Kraven the Hunter, who would, one, be after Spider-Man for the hunt, and be after the Lizard for the same reason.
That'd be great, dude.
Like that's my story that I kind of came out with Spider-Man 4. But no, now they're rebooting the entire series with Amazing Spider-Man, and guess who's the villain in Amazing Spider-Man? It's going to be the Lizard.
When they already had the perfect setup,
Exactly. So now you got to set up the origin story for Spider-Man. You got to set up the origin story for Lizard, and the Lizard is not. He's an intelligent being, but when he's Doc Connors, he's not really that intelligent when he's the Lizard.
Yeah.
So, in the end, it's just going to be like a basic brawl, I think.
How did you feel about Topher Grace playing Venom?
I didn't have a problem with it.
I did. Because he's
not Eddie
supposed
Brock.
Yeah, he's supposed to be, a built, guy with fucking giant-ass muscles.
Yeah, see, well, you say that, but not really. What he's supposed to be is Peter Parker's rival. He's supposed to be a photographer. He's supposed to hate Peter Parker. And that's what they did in that movie. Sure, he's a bodybuilder in the comics, but you don't need that in the movie.
Yeah, but he just didn't look like the Venom I wanted to be in the movie.
No, I wanted a gruff guy, middle-aged, buffed up with a trench coat, the tan trench coat.
Yeah, I can see what you guys are saying, but I think he did really well. He told the story that he kind of needed to. He was the rival to Peter Parker in every single way, but people have their different opinions. That's all I'm going to say about that. So,
well, before we get off the superhero talk, I want to talk about when Arkham City comes out. They're releasing Batman Year One on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah, they are.
It's going to be amazing because they're not editing out crap from the book for kids. They're leaving it all in.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of those DC animated. I mean, Batman Under the Red Hood, dude, is
yes.
I mean, it doesn't get any better, man. I just love the DC animated movies, even more so than the ones.
The best Batman animated movie of all time is Mask of the Phantasm. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
I would have to disagree with you there, man.
What?
Dude, have you ever seen Batman Under the Red Hood?
Under the Red Hood is the best.
Under the Red Hood.
I own it on Blu-ray.
You still think Mask of the Phantasm is better?
Yes, I do. Because I guess it's more nostalgic because I still have it on VHS. And I just like the whole people think Batman is killing off, mobsters, and then they find out it's some girl.
But quick freeze, tell me that Jensen Ackles did not do a phenomenal job as the Red Hood, dude. Do you ever watch Supernatural?
Yeah, well, no, Supernatural, I've only seen about 3 episodes in the entire series of the show.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, for Red Hood, I thought he did a great job.
Definitely.
Is Superman and Batman Apocalypse any good?
Awesome.
It is awesome. I've got all those on Blu-ray, man. They're all such good movies.
Yeah, me too. I got every single DC that ever came out ever since. Damn, what was the first one? Well, anyway, I got all the DC movies on Blu-ray, and like Josh already said, every single one is just simply fantastic. They just get better as they come out.
I even liked All-Star Superman. I thought that was excellent.
I didn't really like that all that much, but I could see why it's good.
Did you enjoy the Superman Shazam?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was awesome too. You know, I think that the DC is really outdoing the Marvel when it comes to the home animated.
Well, that's the thing. DC does really well with their heroes in the animated aspect, but Marvel does really well in the live action.
Definitely.
And like I'm not really sure why that is, but it just works for DC doing animated and Marvel doing live action.
Yeah, the only guy that's really had success recently is Batman, really. In the actual live action film, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back, Catwoman. But I will say that Elektra is probably the worst superhero film I've seen. Elektra was just so bad. It really was.
I agree.
It was just terrible. You know, what a wasted potential to have Ben Affleck as Daredevil, make some cameos in there and link the stories. But
I think they were just trying to cash in with the effect of Daredevil. You know, like they just wanted an easy couple million.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jennifer Garner's a great Elektra, but the script was just crap.
What's everyone's opinion on the new Superman, new design and whatnot?
You mean with Superman Returns, or?
No, they are redoing the whole Superman outfit and way he acts. Like now he wears a blue T-shirt with the S, emblem, and blue jeans, and he acts like Batman. He takes.
Oh, you're talking about the new DC 52. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I read pretty much all the new 52 issue ones, and that Superman that you're talking about, where he wears the blue jeans and stuff like that. You gotta understand, DC is reimagining all their heroes, so they're gonna be different. They're not. You're supposed to take this new Superman and forget about everything else. So, like, I kind of like that Superman, being more gruff and like you said, like Batman, but he hasn't really learned to respect. He doesn't fight for justice in a way that you want him to. Like, he doesn't even fly yet.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, he only runs. So, he's still developing his powers. He's still developing his identity in the world of Metropolis and DC Comics. But if you don't like that Superman that you're talking about, there are other Superman comic books coming out that are inside the new 52s of the DC Comics.
I never cared for Superman, but whenever I read that he was gonna take crime into his own hands like Batman, I fell in love with it.
You quick freeze, I gotta ask you something too.
Sure.
How did you feel about the early 90s Image comics when all the top artists were leaving Marvel and going and doing, Savage Dragon and Spawn and Shadowhawk and, stuff like that, the Max?
You're asking me how I felt of them leaving?
Like, did you like Image Comics when it was, in its prime?
No, I mainly just stick with Marvel and DC. I do pick up a few independent comics, like Dark Horse and Image, but I mainly stick with Marvel and DC, so it...
Do you remember that time? Do you remember that time I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember it, but I never really picked up any of those issues, because...
For a while there, they took they took over DC. Like they were more popular, selling more than DC for a minute there. They were.
Oh yeah, like that. I don't deny that at all. They were doing really well back then.
Just a shame, they couldn't keep publishing deadlines, and they didn't know anything about running a business back then.
Mm.
But,
Dan's being quiet.
Of course I have. I'm not that big with superheroes. We're talking about gaming news, and it turned into the superhero podcast.
It did too. I think I started it, man. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't mind. It seems like you guys are having a good conversation. It's just
the power of it.
I never really grew up with comics or nothing, so.
Yeah.
The only comics I had were Spider-Man, like Spectacular, Amazing, Peter Parker. Yeah, those are the three I can remember that my grandma used to, like, I'd look, read my comic, and then in the back it would have a way or a page where you can sign up or whatever for subscriptions for different comics.
I actually think, like, in my house, I got, like, a couple really old, too. I don't even know if they're worth anything, but I have, like, 2 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man, and they're, like, really old. I can't remember them, though. And they're, like, in these plastic sleeves, too, so they're really well taken care of.
Yeah, keep them in those.
Yeah, one of them was, like, it's an awesome cover. I don't know what it's called, though, but, like, Venom is, like, ripping Spider-Man's, like, face off, and it's, like, a skeleton. It's really badass.
I think I have that.
Shit.
I have
I have that issue.
I have that and another one. I don't know which one.
I think I do too.
That's a badass cover, though. I like that.
We done with the superhero talk?
Yeah, I think we are. We're probably, like, boring our listeners right now anyway. But, yeah, why don't you do that shout-out, Techno?
All right. Well, today I'm going to shout out Danks. He does a lot of cool arcade stuff. He likes the PC Engine. He likes a lot of those rare systems. Like he just fixed up a FM Town car, Marty. I think that's what you call it. FM Town car, Marty. Yeah. Where it was, built just for the car, for your vehicle, where it doesn't have any, yellow, red, or white, jacks to plug in. And somehow he fixed it up and got it running. So that's pretty cool. He has, I think 2 arcade cabinets where they're like JAMA boards and whatnot, and he got like Killer Instinct 2 just a few days ago, I think, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you like arcade stuff and rare shit, go check them out. It's DANKSS. Yeah, go check them out, damn it.
Now, go.
Go.
We'll wait for you. Pause the video, we'll wait for you.
Are we seriously going to wait for him?
No. Well, they paused the video, they would have. Well, I have another gaming news, just one little thing that I want to bring up.
Okay.
Since I'm really passionate about this. You guys know I love Tales of Vesperia. You guys know how I feel about that game.
This is news to me.
Well, yes. News to you. I've said it so many times.
I'm just kidding.
But recently, there was a release of Tales of Exilia, the new game, and this is the 13th installment in the Tales of series. The big thing is, it sold 526,000 copies, roughly, in its first week in Japan. Now, 526,000 might not sound that much to, big U.S. releases, but in Japan, that is huge, especially since Tales of Vesperia only sold about 55,000 copies in its first week. So 55,000 all the way to 526,000, something happened there. But the reason I'm excited is I'm hoping Bandai Namco sees this as like a good business adventure and can hopefully localize this game for the PlayStation 3 in the US. And I'm just really excited about that. I mean, it's really good because the reason they brought Tales of Vesperia out only on the 360, they were kind of like testing the waters. They were really skeptical about it. They were trying to see how it would translate, and it sold horribly. Like, no one bought the game. But, you know, that kind of led them to cancel, like, Tales of for the US because it's nothing but remakes from here on out. And the DS had, like, all Tales of games. So, like, Tales of Innocence, Tales of Hearts, Tales of the Tempest. And the PSP had, like, Tales of Verse. And none of these games made it to the States. And they're doing the same thing with Tales of Exilia. But since it's sold well, I'm hoping they can finally bring this out. I'm really excited for this game.
I gotta say, dude, I agree with you 100% that Tales of Vesperia is probably the best RPG this gen, I feel.
Definitely.
If you have a PSP, definitely look into importing Tales of Eternia.
Oh, I'm going to do that.
It's a very good game, and if you like Vesperia, you'll definitely like Eternia.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd say, too. Like, Tales of Vesperia, hands down, is the best RPG I've played this modern generation. It was amazing.
It's so epic, dude.
It really is. I was blown away.
Yeah, I think I beat it 70 hours. It took me, I think, to beat it, dude, and I just think that Yuri Lowell is just, like, the most badass character, dude.
I fell in love with the characters, Yuri and Estelle, but Yuri, and there's, like, one particular, like, it's a line he says. I don't really want to spoil it, but it's between him and Flynn, and it's one of the best, like, one-liners or, like, a memorable line in a video game, and it's really good. And it only took me about, like, I think I would beat it in, like, 42 hours, so, but I really enjoyed it. And I instantly became a Tales of fan, so I bought, like, Tales of the Abyss on the PlayStation 2, which I want to get into.
Yeah, I like Tales of the Abyss a lot. The problem with that is the storyline gets so complicated with all these different army factions, dude. I feel it really, I almost want to say it bogs the story down a little bit, but it's just so confusing keeping all the Imperials, the different factions of this army. It's just so much to it, whereas Vesperia, you know, it was told so well through all the... Remember the skits? Like all the
I love the skits, and that they were actually voice acted. Oh.
Yeah, dude, it's just so freaking good, man. Like, I remember when Vesperia and Eternal Sonata were, like, both around at the same time, you know, and Eternal Sonata definitely took a back seat to Vesperia. I mean, Eternal Sonata is still a good RPG.
Yeah, I have that. I need to get into that.
Just can't compare to Vesperia.
You really can. Like, Yuri Lowell is one of my favorite characters. He's just, you know, he's an atypical hero. Like, he's what you wouldn't expect from a hero. He's just, like, a rebel, and he doesn't really want to be a hero. Like, he lets Flynn take the credit for, like, everything he does, basically.
Yeah.
I love the relationship between him and Flynn, too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I freaking, like, I'm in love with Judith, dude. I'll admit it.
Oh, me too.
I'll admit it.
It's cool too because there's a lot of like little Easter eggs because you know Namco, they like to do Easter eggs in their games. And there's like one island in particular you go to and it's pretty much just a big Easter egg.
Yeah, I even like the I ended up buying the damn opening song, that Ring a Bell song off iTunes, dude. You know, after hearing it so much, I just loved it, dude.
Well, I would always go to. Do you know what island I'm talking about? Where like they named the island after themselves, basically.
I do. Yep.
Where it's like Namco Banda Isle. I thought that was so funny. Like first it didn't hit me. I'm like, wait a second, Namco Banda Isle. I'm like, oh, they really named the island after themselves.
Yeah.
You go there. There's like a taiko drum for Taiko no Tatsujin and stuff like that.
Yeah, classic fan service there.
And there's like music from Klonoa in there, and it's really cool.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm really excited for Tales of Exilia. I really hope it comes out.
No, what they announced that one was coming out for PS3, dude. Which one was that?
I don't remember. I know it wasn't Tales of Exilia. It was something else, but can't remember.
I could have swore that they announced that one was coming. I know that they're porting Abyss to the 3DS.
Yeah.
Should be cool. What did you think of Tales of Legendia, dude?
Oh, I haven't got that yet, and I'm kind of skeptical about that.
Yeah, it's kind of considered to be like the dark horse of the two PS2 ones, but it's still pretty enjoyable. I liked it.
Have you ever played there's another PSP, the Tales of the New World, Radiant Mythology?
Yeah, I wanted to like those games. I did, but I'm more of a fan of, um, like a traditional RPG like Vesperia, where Tales of the World was basically, random generated. Is that right? I haven't played it in a long time, but I remember it being going into the dungeons like a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, random encounters.
Yeah, I didn't like that to where you're in like the hub town, the one town, and I just didn't like it as much as a standard Tales game. But I thought it was pretty well done for what it was. It was nice to see like cameos from other games, like other characters. Like I think Luke from Tales of the Abyss was in there, but I much prefer the Tales of the Eternia where it's a standard, big quest game as opposed to the random dungeons.
Well, I really want to import Tales of Verse. Do you know about that? Where it's like the fighting game with all the Tales characters?
Yeah, man. I
want to import that.
Anything with Yuri Lowell in it, dude, I want to have,
Yeah, like I just want to be able to fight with like Yuri against Luke and all that. It's really cool.
Have you seen the Tales of Vesperia Collector's Edition?
Yes, and it's super, super rare.
Yeah, man, that steelbook, dude.
I want that too. And I didn't know, if I knew about that, when I bought it, I didn't know about that, so I had no idea, but if I knew I was going to love Tales of Vesperia so much, I would have kind of gone the extra mile and tried to affordably track down a copy of that, especially for the soundtrack, which is like a limited, like, Tales of, like, 10th anniversary soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I wish I would have known about the game and known it was going to be that good.
Yeah.
But, it's funny because it seems like early on in the 360's life, Microsoft was actually, we had Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, Infinite Undiscovery. They were really going after these different types of games, and all kinds of games were being put out for the 360, whereas now, Microsoft is totally just relying on their third-party, what's the one exclusive? They have Gears coming out, other than that, you just don't see the Mistwalker support anymore. You don't see the, Lost Planet was exclusive for a while, Dead Rising was exclusive, all these different kinds of games.
Or Mass Effect.
Yeah, Mass Effect. A lot of RPGs. I mean, the Xbox. See, I was a huge fan of the Xbox 360 early on in the
Star Ocean.
Yeah,
about that.
I was really into the Xbox 360, but then when it became the shooter console, that's when I kind of went over to the PS3 and started focusing on that more.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like I thought they had like a partnership going on with Mistwalker, and then that just kind of disappeared.
Yep, it did.
Come on.
A lot of people argue that Lost Odyssey is the best RPG on the 360, and I think it's pretty close, but
yeah,
I got to give it to Vesperia.
And I still got to play Lost Odyssey, so.
Oh, man, that's a really, really good game. That's more of a Final Fantasy game than Final Fantasy 13 could ever be.
I know, I have it too. I'm looking at it.
It's a really good game.
There's one scene in that game that absolutely just made me cry, and you might know what I'm talking about. Josh, it's the scene with the twins' mother.
Oh yeah, the dreams or whatever, one of the dreams.
No, it wasn't a dream, but it was right.
The town, yeah.
Yeah, the town where they met the twins' mother, and that scene just really just made me tear up, and it's been a long time since a game has made me do that.
There's a lot of heartfelt moments in that game, to be honest with you, man. There really is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
It's like an emotional RPG is what it is.
Yeah, I've recommended that game to a very good friend of mine who just wanted a good turn-based RPG, and I said, dude, play Lost Odyssey. You can get it really cheap at GameStop, and he picked it up, and he's loving it. So
it's becoming hard to find because sellers like to break it up and sell disc 1, disc 2, disc 3, disc 4 separately. So
that's
hard to find a complete copy.
Nostalgic also, man. Check out, if you haven't already, Magna Carta 2 on the Xbox 360.
Oh, that's the last Bandai Namco game I need to complete my collection.
That's a really good
on
game.
the 360.
Yeah, it's really, really underrated, man. It's a really good RPG.
Yeah, I know the first Magna Carta got bashed pretty bad.
Yeah, it did. But the second one's really. I even enjoyed the first one on the PlayStation 2, but the Magna Carta 2 is a really solid game. Great battle system.
Yeah, I definitely want that. It's like the last game I need. But yeah, that was my news segment.
So you want to get into our own segments and then questions?
Yep. So it's that time in the podcast where we do our segments, and for me, I like to recommend kind of obscure gems or like gems that were kind of overlooked or, just kind of buried under the rug. But that is Tales of Vesperia. Technically, not a lot of people bought this, and it's still really affordable. I know, like, you can get it for like brand new $20, which is a good price. And if you want to play one of the greatest RPGs of this modern generation, it is that. I was blown away by this game, and I know in the Tales of series they don't make sequels, but I kind of would love to see a sequel. I know they did it on the PlayStation 1 with like Tales of Legend 2, but did you ever watch hey Josh, did you ever watch the Japanese movie, the Tales of Vesperia, The First Strike?
No, I really wanted to, but I never did.
Yeah, I was able to find, like, it's all Japanese, but I was able to find like an English dubbed translation. It was really good. It explains a lot of the backstory. Like it explains about like Repeat and how like Yuri gets Repeat, and it explains about like why Repeat always has a pipe in his mouth. It's really good. It gives a lot of backstories, so I recommend that.
Yeah, I gotta get it.
But yeah, Tales of Vesperia, that is my recommendation. So, who wants to do their segment next?
I guess I'll go. This week I would like to recommend one of the retro games is Quackshot for the Sega Genesis. This is a Disney platformer. It was released on December 19th, 1991, and it features my absolute favorite Disney character of all time, Donald Duck. Now, in this game, Donald Duck is more like a treasure hunter, and the way he becomes a treasure hunter is he finds a book inside a library which contains a map to the great treasure of the Great Duck Kingdom. And, of course, being Donald, he thinks he can get rich really quickly. Now, the player obviously controls Donald in a side-scrolling gameplay style, and he travels through all these different lands within the game, such as like Duckburg, Mexico, Transylvania, India, Egypt, a haunted Viking ship, and then the South Pole. Now, Donald Duck has all these different abilities, or not really abilities, but all these different weapons from this specialized gun. He can shoot plungers, popcorn, and bubblegum, but the plungers are the only weapon in the game that can be upgraded to the point where he can create temporary platforms that he could use to climb up walls. Now, this game, if you guys ever play this game, you'll notice that there's a lot of Indiana Jones references in this game. One of the most common is Donald Duck pretty much wears the same clothes as Indiana Jones. The diary within the map within the diary is just like the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The minecart sequence within the game is much like the minecart sequence in Temple of Doom. And the last level before the final boss of the game, the player has to do a leap of faith, much like the leap of faith in the Last Crusade. So, I highly recommend this game, not just because Donald is my favorite Disney character of all time, but it's a good platformer. Have you guys ever played this game at all?
Yeah, I owned it back in the day.
And like, what did you think about it?
I was blown away by it. I love the Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion, so when I saw Quackshot, I knew I had to have it. And like the visuals are phenomenal for the Genesis. It's just a great game. That plunger gun is classic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games for the Genesis.
Yeah, it really is a good game.
So, Mr. TechnoSqueek, what exactly this week is pissing you off?
You know what's pissing me off?
No, I don't know. Tell me.
Fucking YouTube trolls.
Oh, well, that's pissing me off too.
Yeah, see? I knew it.
But I found my troll. I was able to find my troll, and I'm so happy.
You did?
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine's on YouTube told me about him, and I guess he's a classic troll. I'm not going to mention any names, but he's the one who likes to make multiple accounts, just like your video about 40 times or something.
Oh,
He bashed like Happy Console Gamer a lot. And
yep,
stuff like that.
yep. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, then he was trolling me, but I was able to find him.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's just some little punk 12-year-old kid who doesn't
Yeah.
know better.
He thinks he's all that shit in a bag of chips.
Mm-hmm. A shitty bag of chips.
Yeah, no good bag of chips.
Pizza flavored.
But yeah, trolls piss me off. See, here's what they keep. Every troll says to me that I'm a fat ass, and you know what I tell them? I say, yeah, I'm fat. What are you gonna do about it? And I never hear from them again.
Just block them. That's what I do. If I get like some stupid comment or troll comment, I know right away, and it's like I don't even hesitate. I block them. I don't want to deal with them.
I don't know why people have to hate.
Yeah.
Because hating's in now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with the anonymity. You know, they can hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
Nobody has to see who it is. They can talk all the shit they want and not have to worry about facing the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 And that's how I was growing up. Like, I mentioned this to someone, too. I'm like, I was growing up, like, basically, if you have a problem with someone, have the balls and say it to their face. You know, that's how I was brought up. So it's like, it pisses me off because trolls are just cowards. And then they're just probably sitting there like, yeah, they mentioned us, dislike. Rage.
It doesn't, I mean, the whole dislike thing doesn't really do a thing.
It's the stupid comments that like are absurd.
So is that it?
Yeah, I guess it's a short one.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get into questions and...
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we got 2 questions this week. The first one is by Retro Man Presents. And he says, do you guys have any snacks while gaming? If so, what do you snack on?
I'll go first. Since I am a fat fuck, I like Doritos. You know, any type of soda, pretty much. I've gotten a lot into Sprite though, but I also like if you know I don't have like real snacky food like chips. I usually eat grapes. That's pretty much it.
I guess I'll go. For me, I do like to eat some chips. Like I'm a big fan of hot Cheetos. Like I'm a hot and sour person kind of guy. Like I'm a hot and sour person kind of guy. So like I love sour candy over chocolate candy, and I love hot stuff and spicy stuff. So I love like Sour Punch bites, like the strawberry ones. Those are awesome. I like to eat those. But lately I've been finding that I've been making a cup of noodles, like lime and chili shrimp cup of noodles all the time while gaming. It's just so easy to make. And I usually do have something to drink. Like I like Coke, but my favorite kind of soda is cherry soda. So I like cherry Coca-Cola, wild cherry Pepsi, cherry RC. So I always have some sort of cherry soda with me. I have a Coke with me right now. So what about you, Quick Freeze?
I don't really try to eat anything while I game, mainly because I don't want like the oil of the chips or whatever I do eat getting on the controllers and stuff. That just bothers me a lot. But you know, I do drink while I game. I've been drinking a lot of like flavored water, like the Fruit 2.0 stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
So
I love flavored water.
That's pretty much it for me. What about you, Games of War?
Yeah, I'm with you. I really don't eat too much while I'm playing a game, mainly for, you know, I don't want shit all over my controllers as well. You know, I'll drink water and whatnot, but not too much eating while I game.
The next and last question is by Hangia. It's, if I'm saying this right, it's spelled Hangia.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know him.
Did I say that correctly?
Hangia?
Hangia. I don't know.
Something. I don't know.
Well, if he's listening, I totally apologize if I butcher your name. But his question is, what is a game you love but everyone else hates?
No.
And I guess I'll... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would have to say the newest Splatterhouse for the 360.
Yes!
PS3.
That, oh my god. I fucking love that game so damn much.
Yeah, I love that game too. Just, I'm a huge fan of the Splatterhouse series, and that game is basically 4 games in one. It has Splatterhouse 1, 2, and 3 on it.
Yeah.
And obviously the newest Splatterhouse. But it just seems like everyone seems to hate that game, and I can kind of see why. Because if you're not a Splatterhouse fan, it's basically, it's just a basic beat 'em up with the gore being the selling factor of the game. If you just take away the Splatterhouse name and all the gore, it's really just a basic game. But the fact that I am a huge Splatterhouse fan is the main reason why I bought this game and why I love it. What about you, Dan? What's your game that you love and other people hate?
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm like looking at all these games trying to think of something. Usually games I hate, other people hate, so... well, obviously I'm a big fan of this game. It got bashed, obviously, because people think it's like it's a modern gen game, but people think it's like last gen graphics. It's not realistic. It looks bland and dull, but I loved Earth Defense Force 2017 on the 360. It's one of my favorite games for the 360, so... I know that game got bashed, but I don't care. It's last gen, whatever. It's the most fun I've had. Just the most pure fun I've had with a game in a long time.
That's what's important.
I mean, what's more fun than blowing the shit out of tons of alien bugs? With like rocket launchers and laser guns and all these ridiculous weapons.
I gotta get that game.
It's awesome. I mean, there's a new one, yeah, but like the new one lost a lot of its like quirky charm since the first one was done by Sandlot, who basically had like a extremely, extremely low budget to make this game. I'm talking like probably only 5 figures to make like a modern generation game.
Yeah.
They did a good job. I mean, it's an awesome game. And it's got so many quirky one-liners like, do you like death? Then die. Like, stuff like that. Like, it is amazing. That is my game, though. So what about you, Josh?
I would have to say a series of games for the 360, and that is 99 Nights.
Oh, hey, that's another good one, too. I started playing, it's funny you mentioned that. I started playing the first one, and I'm enjoying it. It's a basic, like, beat-em-up, hack and slash, like Dynasty Warriors, and it's good.
Yeah, dude, I really, if you're a fan of Dynasty Warrior style games, where, you're one character taking on, hundreds at a time, I think that the first one is really well done. You get to play as several different characters. But the main game is it's a war between the humans and these goblins. And the game, playing through the game, you go from the human side, seeing it from their point of view, and then you go to the goblin side, where you're like a young goblin. You see these humans slaughtering your family, and you take on that side. The storyline is really well done in the first one. It's got some great music, great combos, lots of enemies filling the screen. And then the second one, 99 Nights 2, has more of a dark feel to it. The second one's got a mature rating. There's lots of blood. Great characters with great weapons. And I think the series is really underrated. I think it's a great hack and slash series for sure, exclusive to the 360. Really surprised that a second one came out.
Yeah. And Konami did the second one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a good series of games if you're into the Dynasty Warrior style hack and slash.
So I think that's about it, guys. If you guys have any questions for any future episodes, please email us at
pressstartpod@gmail.com, and we will answer them for the next episode coming up. So be sure to do that.
What episode we on? 3?
3.
Yeah,
Right.
It's in the sack.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks a lot for having me, guys. I'm pretty sure I'm subbed to all you guys, but if not, I'm gonna make sure and do as such. You guys are all cool dudes, man. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, it
Same
was,
here.
it was
Yeah.
great having you on. Why don't before you take off, why don't you just let listeners know where they could find you?
All right, yeah, I'm on YouTube. Games of War, all one word. Games with a Z. So it's YouTube.com or whatever / Games of War. There you will find me. I don't have a Twitter or Facebook or anything yet, but who knows? I'm kind of Facebook illiterate. But, maybe in the future, you never know.
Okay, so people can find me on my channel. It's QuickFreeze4. All one word. It's the number 4. And I also have a Facebook, kind of like a fan page. If you just go on Facebook and type in QuickFreeze4's Game Room, you can hit the like button, kind of do updates on what I'm working on, how close I'm getting things done, and news on the podcast. So be sure to like me if you want to be my fan, I guess.
Yeah, I got a question for you, dude. Is that character on your page on YouTube, is that done with the DC Universe Online?
You mean the Quick Freeze characters on the border, you mean?
Yeah, like he has like a cape on, I think.
Yeah, that's actually I used to play the MMO Champions Online, and that's what that's from.
Oh, okay. It looks just like DC Universe Online for the PS3.
Yeah, well the way I came up with the whole Quick Freeze characters, I used to play City of Heroes, and that's kind of where I designed the character, and then from there I went from Champions, and that's what those 2 pictures are from. He just has different alternate costumes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I never played the DC Online yet.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
I must say. It is good. Especially if you're a fan of comics like you, dude. You'd like it.
Yeah. But where can people find you, Mr. TechnoSqueek?
On YouTube, it's MrTechnosqueek, all one word. Capitalize the M, T, and S. And remember the 2 E's in squeak. And Twitter, it's the same thing.
And where can people find you, Mr. Nostalgic Dan?
I have no idea. No.
Uh,
They can find me on youtube.com/nostalgicdan1, and that's my channel, main channel, and I also have a Twitter and a Facebook page. I update my Facebook page a lot, and I'm also on twitch.tv live streaming video games. I haven't done it lately because I've been having problems with the program I use. It's pretty horrible, but exactly one month from now, I'll be doing a pretty big event, and it's for Extra Life, and it's a 24-hour gaming live stream for a charity. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be on October 15th. So definitely follow me on twitch.tv to see that.
nice.
Nice.
Okay, well, I guess that wraps up episode 3 of the Press Start podcast. Again, I'd like to thank Games of War for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And I guess that's it.
That is it.
That is it. We
All right.
are done.
Later, guys.
You guys on YouTube.
Bye, guys. Love you.
See ya.